This is the inaugural edition of Joe Macho's Experience with Retail. This is another show that I'm doing. As much as I was talking about the Wolfman Joe part of things, I was also called Joe Macho, a nickname that my former supervisor gave me. I guess, it was credit to whatever I was doing, so I got handed a nickname. A tribute to the late wrestler Macho Man Randy Savage. That's how the name came about. But I'm going to do a lot of stories like that with my experience in retail. For those who don't know, and I will not speak ill will of the store because, I learned a lot of lessons. They taught me a lot. They taught me how to do whatever I do. I mean, my eBay stuff probably wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't had that early grunt work that I did with JCPenney. I'm going to say that. It taught me many things, such as unloading a truck, delivering a package, and everything else. And I'll tell you, some of those days, JCPenney was, where I was in Woodbridge, was on top. When it was on top and busy, you had to be on point. You had to be you couldn't miss a package, because if you miss a package, that would have been a sale that they didn't have. And if you didn't have, if somebody sees me lose it over a package not being there, I do want to say that it stems from my early background in merchandise handling, because I had to find that package. Me not finding that package and finding those 4 numbers that were located on that package meant a loss of a sale, which I will get into that later in the podcast series. But consider this. 1997, JCPenney had $1 million sales in catalog. I was the young rookie merchandise handler at that time, and there were a few. I don't remember who, but they were on the roll. And I carried the thing. It's I didn't want to mess up that package. I didn't want to there's times that I couldn't find, but I looked and I found it anyway, and I delivered it to the customer. There were times that I had to fit lamps, I had to fit other comforters, you name it. I had to fit everything on the cart and get it there, and wait until I get into the Black Friday Christmas sales, and getting through the customers in a quick manner to get down to package pickup for the customer for the delivery. But it was a system. And, it was when I first started, they had door guards there. But before I do that, I want to, just discuss my very first day, because I'll start there. My friend said, I had this good place to work, and I still podcast with my friend today. Like, you heard him, John. But I'll just call him that. Like, he said, I got this good job you might be interested in. How about you apply at JCPenney? Thinking, okay. I got nothing else going on at that time. No money, no source, whatever. I tried. I mean, I maybe broke a rule, got somebody in trouble, but I apologize for that. I didn't know what kind of protocol anything was back then. So they hired me in. I got the job. This is what I did. Manager calls me in. I have a suit and tie. I'm dressed up for a big corporate job interview, and that's back in the day you had to be dressed up, and they were joking and cracking jokes on me, you dressed up on this, whatever. So anyway, I'm dressed up. My dad takes me to the interview, and I'll tell you, and to my dad, my pop, and my dad, he's on the podcast too. He's on the Me and Pop show. I mean, shout out to that. Be part of the subscribers club when that's on right now. But he drives me to the interview, and here I am. I'm thinking, oh no, I'm embarrassed. I'm being, and when you're young, you don't think of these things. You don't think, hey, maybe, that's source of pride for your dad. And, it's seeing his son work. I mean, that's a big pride thing. I mean, you take credit in that. It's hey, my son is working. He's doing good. So, and I'm oh no, my dad's gonna embarrass me. I'm not gonna get the job because of it. But, lo and behold, I'm gonna mention, his name, Bob something. Not Bob A. I'll put in Bob A. And anonymity, yeah. But, he takes me in the office. He interviews me. I said, hey, I read all these self-help stuff, and positive, uplifting stuff as Zig Ziglar or Tony Robbins. Which I still listen to today. But, mention, some of the thing with my hockey. I was a goaltender or in teamwork there. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it sounds good when I'm saying it right now. But I probably did mention that. I don't know. It's been too long ago, but They hire me. Not after a few weeks. I go in for the interview, like, I'd say, and this is 1997, mind you. I go in for the interview. I remember I'm in the classroom. They're like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "I think I'm going for an interview at JCPenney. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not." I said that, but it's how my and then like luckily I put the recommendations, and I didn't know who to put as a recommendation. I didn't know I could have put my teachers if I wanted to. I think I might have. I don't know, but I got a call. This is sometime in July, middle of July. I get a call. They're like, "Yeah, we need you to come in. You're hired." Here I am. And I remember what book I was reading then, too. I was reading The Magic of Big Thinking, or The Big Magic of Thinking, or some book like that. Somebody by the name is Schwartz. But I'm going to work. Don't know what to expect the first day. I show up the very first day in a crapped out shirt. And mind you, it is a little bit crapped out. It was like some kind of a fish. It had a fish on it. I don't know why, but I guess that's how shirts were back then. But hold on one second. It had like a big shirt on, I don't know. But then they're saying, "Hey, we gotta get you a uniform." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, I don't know, like, you know how when you start a job, you're nervous and you're like, I hope I don't screw up. I hope I don't piss anybody off. And then I hear stories of the store manager, who I'm not gonna mention the name, but those who were working at the time now, they're like, he has a temper, you gotta be watching out for him. Like, I don't know, you don't know, like, what somebody goes through at the time, and you're thinking you're intimidated, you don't want to run into them, you want to avoid them at all costs. Yeah, these are how some of the managers were, like, back in the day. Like, you were, like, intimidated. You don't want to approach them. It's like, if there was a problem with something, you got to say, "Hey, I had a problem with so-and-so." You couldn't mention because you had to go to the chain of command. Like, you don't go to the store manager for a problem if you're just a merchandise handler or bottom string. You go to your supervisor first. And, my first supervisor, I remember, like, got along with him. I wasn't, like, I hadn't, like, I was just learning the ropes, nervous. But I remember I said, "I want to work one day in the morning." For some reason I said that. I mean, I didn't have to, but I said